Okay, so we're going to go have a collaborative conversation at our table groups about this question. Let's read the question together. Eyes on the board, sitting up straight. I'm going to wait for two eyes to join us. Still waiting. Here we go.
How did turtle and fish work together to solve their problem?
So here's my expectations when you are having your collaborative conversation. You need to use third grade vocabulary. So the words that we've talked about, created, cooperation, awkward, all those words, not all of them, but I expect you to choose words that are third grade level to use in your conversation, okay? I expect you to cite relevant evidence. You need to always cite relevant evidence when you are answering the question. And this is probably one of the most important parts that we're working on as a class is you may not repeat what somebody else has already said. So if they have already said that piece of text evidence, you may not use it again. You need to find a different piece of text evidence or a different opinion or agreement to add to the conversation. It's not, I agree with you, and you're done, okay? We also do not stop talking until the timer goes off. So you're not going to stop having that collaborative conversation that's on topic till my timer goes off. And my third expectation is that you are following collaborative conversations agreements. We have come up with what it should sound like and what it should look like and what the speaker's in charge of doing and what the listeners are in charge of doing. Okay, so we're going to make sure that after the speaker has talked that we follow up with a question. We add to what they've said, okay? We disagree or agree with what they've said, but we're not going to just nod and agree. We need to add to the conversation, and we should always be adding new text evidence or new information, okay? And that is the question we're trying to answer. Now, these are the sentence frames that you can use when you're having your conversation. So let's read these together real quick. Eyes on the board. Together. I think blank because the text says blank, and I know that means blank. Remember that I know part is your background knowledge. It's not more text evidence, it's your background knowledge, Sadie. Let's read the second one. I agree with blank that blank. I would like to add blank. Okay? And then our very last one, if you don't agree with what they're saying, you can use this one. Ready? I disagree with blank that blank because the text says blank. And you can also ask questions. This is just one of the questions. You don't have to use this question, but a question you might ask another table mate is, what do you think? Okay? So we're having a collaborative conversation answering the question, how did turtle and fish work together to solve their problem? Before we have our collaborative conversation, I want you're going to have individual time right now, 3 minutes to go to your desk. I gave everybody a sticky note, and I would like you to start already thinking about what evidence are you going to use. So maybe you write down the page number. Maybe you write down folktale because that's your background knowledge, right? The genre. So you remember to talk about that. Maybe you write down a third grade vocabulary word you want to use in the conversation. So you'll have 3 minutes to think about how are you going to contribute to the collaborative conversation and how are you going to answer this question, okay? So again, you can write down page number, you can write down a vocabulary term, you can write down your background knowledge that you want to talk about or a connection you've made with the text. Are there any questions? If you have a question, raise your hand. Eduardo?
What if someone can say, I agree, and then they just turn around?
That's a great question. So if somebody at the table just says, I agree, what should you do to hold them accountable? What should you do? Lucia?
I would ask, well, would you agree?
Right.
Wait, where's your text at?
Excellent. Right. Is there anything else that we could ask them to think deeper, Edgar?
Or
Who do you agree with? Excellent. Eduardo?
what do you agree with?
What do you agree with? Why do you agree with that? Okay. Anything else that we could ask them if they just said, "Yep, I agree." Adawahi?
Why do you agree?
Why do you agree? Why do you think that way? Maybe what's your background knowledge? Okay? So you have 3 minutes right now. We're just writing, nope, sit down. We're just writing on our sticky note what evidence from the text or our background knowledge or vocabulary we want to bring into this collaborative conversation. Up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. This is independent right now. We are not talking. Anthony, I don't want to hear your voice. So you're looking at the text, you're thinking about what are you going to contribute to this conversation. I should see you using that sticky note and writing down what are you going to add to the conversation. It's not okay to just sit there. Love how I see students looking at that vocabulary. Love how I see students looking back into the text. I love how I see students using their sequence chart. Good words on sticky notes like folktale, cooperation. Oops. Finish up your thoughts. All right, stop. Go back to your table desks if you're not there in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Okay, you are now having the collaborative conversation. How did turtle and fish work together to solve their problem? I'm going to be listening for 3rd grade vocabulary, citing relevant evidence, and following our agreements for a collaborative conversation. Put your pencils down. Put your pencils down. And start having your conversation. Go.
I think, okay. Yeah, you.
I think they work together by tricking NC together because the text says
3.
So the text says
pass it when somebody else talks.
For the food. Turtle was angry at Alice. He decided to teach the nasty spider a lesson. Please come to the bottom. Please come to my house at the bottom of the lake for dinner tomorrow, said Turtle. And Alice quickly said yes. He loved free food. Turtle asked Fish to get involved. Turtle found Fish at the lake. Fish, I need your help, he said. With your cooperation, we can trick Annecy. Annecy had tricked
Love how I see
Fish too
students
many
following
times.
along with the other students as they're
So
talking.
Fish was happy to help. Together, two friends came up, created a clever plan. I know this is a folktale, and folktales always teach a lesson, and Annecy learned a lesson. Page 1.
Okay,
now you go.
Oh, wait.
Just
Yeah,
yeah.
you have cut. Listen to me, I go. Put up to your mouth. Up to your
It records you. So, go on.
Where are you at? So, tell them the page, tell them the paragraph.
I have some baby. Tell us
Okay, then
the
say
page.
it in your own words.
Yeah, you can. Pass it to Adrian.
What do you do?
Okay, I agree with you, Maureen. Because I agree with you because
Wait. Can I ask a question? Why do you agree with me though?
because on page 106, the illustration it looks like Ashley was angry at Turtle and Fish because Ashley Turtle and Fish tricked her, and at first the story Ashley tricked Turtle.
Wait, I have a question. What page are you getting with your text evidence?
I used 106 and 103.
106.
The illustration looks like Assie's angry at Turtle and Fish.
And Turtle.
Turtle laughing about it. Assie's angry at because
So you're using the illustration?
yeah. Because Turtle did it because Addison tricked Turtle. Turtle was hungry at the beginning, and as he took
Make sure you're holding each other accountable to speak.
ate the banana.
Okay, now pass it to you, Jessica.
Okay. That day, when he saw
No, we don't just. He's not.
met him at the water. Came and he said, "Fish we will swim to house
Together. What page are you using?
106. She is using
The water.
water. He was a clumsy and awkward swimmer. He was also very I will get down to Turtle's house. He cried.
What to say?
Then you will see and
or disagree. I think you're disagreeing with me because you're giving different evidence that doesn't support my answer.
Yeah, she's right.
So you're disagreeing with me, basically. Okay, continue.
Okay, what was the next? He was what? Down, fish. Whatever you say this part. Fish.
Then you will not.
Fish swam.
Jumped into the lake and swam down.
Sat down. Down. Fish. I already said that part. Fish swam. Fish swam.
Exercise.
Hillside.
At
Turtle's house. And
saw
a
wonderful
beast of
berries.
So I want to
Okay, so is that all your text evidence? Okay, so what do you know about that?
He says he got the
Okay, continue with your text. Relevant text evidence.
wrap up your conversation
Okay,
in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. I should be on me. I should be on me. I would like everybody to just take a pause and come to the carpet with nothing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Sadie, I've asked you to do something. All right, let's start with the positives. What do you think were some positives that came out of the collaborative conversations? What were some things, either somebody did something really well, or you learned something new, or you thought about something differently that you guys had a conversation about? Lucia?
I wanted to say how Eduardo used the word I agree or disagree because the text is blank, and other people was like, I disagree. He didn't use any text evidence sometimes.
So he was using text evidence and he was making a complete thought? Excellent, okay. What was something else that somebody else did or that you saw in your collaborative conversation that went well? Sophia?
Something that I saw in my collaborative conversation was we were using text evidence.
Was it relevant text evidence? Good. What does that mean, relevant? Relevant text evidence. I say that a lot, but what does that actually mean? Anthony?
Real text evidence.
Well, it's all real. But what does that mean, relevant text evidence? Maureen?
Text evidence straight from the text.
Well, a lot of people are getting text evidence straight from the text. Lucia?
So if you're talking about one topic, talking about is the real topic.
So the evidence needs to support your claim. So if you're saying the theme of this story was don't trick other people, and then you use the text evidence, Turtle was angry, is that relevant to what you were saying? No. So relevant text evidence means that you're using text evidence that supports what you're saying, what you're claiming, okay? Anything else that went really good in your collaborative conversations? Dean?
I like how Michael was saying I disagree and agree.
So you were having a conversation with each other. Well, this is what I thought. That's great. And you know what else I liked at your table group? I don't know if other table groups were doing this, Mikey's, but one of the things that Dean's table group was doing was following along with other people when they found their text evidence. That's what you should be doing as an active listener. Okay, one more thing that went really well. Eduardo.
One thing that went really well in my group is that we were answering our questions.
You were answering each other's questions that you were asking. Excellent. Yeah. If you're having a collaborative conversation, you should be answering each other's questions. That's part of having a conversation. Okay? What are some things that you could improve on with your table group? I want you to take a moment, because there's definitely things we can always improve on. What are things that we could improve on, either yourself or other people? And I don't want to hear names, okay? But what are things that we as a whole group could improve on? Everybody do a body check. Renee, what's one thing we could improve on? Using text evidence that is relevant. And what does that mean again if text evidence is relevant, Dean? It supports?
The theme?
It supports what your topic, what you're talking about, your claim, okay? What else is something that we could improve on when we're having collaborative conversations? Eyes are up here. I want you to think about in your conversation what went well and what didn't go well. Edgar?
What else like we can improve on is like especially when we're writing is maybe looking for more text evidence.
Okay.
Saying you agree and disagree.
More text evidence that you could bring up later in the conversation. Israel?
Using third grade vocabulary.
Making sure we're using that third grade vocabulary. Anything else that we need to improve on? I think one thing that I saw that I want everybody to improve on, if you're citing text evidence, that doesn't mean you read the entire page. So I saw some of you reading the entire page. It should be 1 or 2 sentences at most. So if you're reading the entire page, that's not all of that is relevant to making your point, okay? All right, what you're gonna go do now, every single person, is you're gonna answer this question. And you get to pick, you're all going to use this sentence frame. And if you wanna add more to it, you can. But you're gonna do it on the back of the piece of paper. So you're answering the question, how did turtle and fish work together to solve their problem? I think blank because the text says blank, and I know that means blank. You've read the text. You've had a conversation. We've read the text twice now, well, several times. So I expect you to have good background knowledge and be able to answer that in 5 minutes. We're in 3rd grade. We're going to make sure we see capital letters and punctuation marks where they should be.
And maybe vocabulary.
And 3rd grade vocabulary. Okay? All the girls up. 5, 4, 3, 2,